everyone, welcome to another episode of BFF, a show where two best friends review movies because fan friction. We're your hosts. I'm Ashley.
I'm Joe.
And now we're into our special BFF season, what we're calling Backlog.
Where we spend a lot of time looking at other movies that we watched because of fan friction. But we didn't get to review for this show for various reasons.
So we are in December's Backlog, which is all about my choices, because it's my birth month. Alright, so our December Backlog has a theme besides it just being what I wanted to pick. I have a trend on my episodes of fan friction where I have picked things that I've never seen before.
Yep.
And in this case, our first episode is from our very first fan friction ever, where I chose Chasing Amy as one of the choices because we needed to pick a favorite or like the best
speech from a character?
No, it was the best Kevin Smith character. Like, it didn't have to be played by him, but just
a character in one of his movies.
And so I wanted to go for the low-hanging fruit of Silent Bob.
It's a good character.
Because he doesn't have a lot of lines, but when he does, it's always very important. And so Jack was like, okay, you can choose him, but you have to pick one movie, just one.
Yeah.
You can't argue the body of work. I'm like, well, darn, what am I going to pick? So, like, my first thought was to go with Jay and Silent Bob Strikes Back because of his Critters of Hollywood speech, but I was like, no, there's got to be something better. And so I kind of just, like, looked up the character Silent Bob on the Internet Movie Database because it gives you all of their iconic lines, and there was this huge speech from Chasing Amy. So I was like, that sounds really good, especially because it gave a lot of context. But I didn't want to just argue the speech without having seen the movie. So literally the morning of the fan friction, I watched Chasing Amy. It's been a while since we've watched the movie, so we're going to take a break to go rewatch it so that we have some actual things to say in the second portion of the video.
Yeah. Unless
you just want us to glitter generalities for 20 minutes.
We can do that.
We can, but
it's super easy.
The episode won't be very good if we do.
Yeah, exactly.
See, Tiblet agrees.
So, we'll be back. So, we're back.
Yeah, we just watched the movie, and the only part I really remembered from the movie was the part that I had to fight. So it was really good to revisit this because I would have forgotten half of the plot.
It's forgettable. I'm not a fan of this movie. I really like Kevin Smith as a director. I think he does great work. I just didn't like this movie that much.
But yeah, this movie just kind of falls in the middle where it's kind of hard to talk about because it's not really great.
It's mediocre.
Yeah, it's an okay movie.
Which... When mediocre is, I mean, that's part of the problem too, is in bad movies you remember. They stick with you.
Yes.
Like, we still complain about A History of Violence to this day. But by that same notion, the good movies stick with you.
Yes.
We still, that's part of the reason people were so frustrated about Ultron, Age of Ultron, because the first Avengers was so good.
Yes.
That Age of Ultron, we wanted so much out of it, and it was just kind of like, here's a movie.
Yeah, and then again, with this one, another part that I remember very vividly was when we first learned that Alyssa is a lesbian, and she and Banky are trading stories.
And
that was memorable.
That was fun, because it's... Banky is probably my biggest issue with this movie, and I like Jason Lee as an actor. He's
a phenomenal actor.
He's a weird guy in general, but he's a really good actor.
I love everything I've seen him in.
Except this,
for
me.
Yeah.
But part of my frustration with him in this is, as written as a character, I do not know how this man has friends.
Yeah, because he is an insufferable...
dirtbag, scum monster.
He actively tries to sabotage their relationship, digging up dirt on Alyssa, which, I mean, it was things that he dug up were true, but that's not his place.
It doesn't.
That's not a friend.
He didn't try to sabotage. He did.
Yeah.
Because they ended up, for those that haven't seen the movie, they end up separating in the end. But, I mean, that's what happened.
Yeah, but
he was successful.
but from every point of their relationship, he was just such, he's not being a good friend.
What I enjoyed about this movie was some of the side characters. I can't remember his name, but the black comic artist.
Yes.
Oh my God, he was such a fun character. Hooper X. Because he's trying to get a good message out and promote, a reader base and empower people and make them feel strong. But, he also knows it's theatrics, and he's okay with it, because as long as he's getting what he thinks is a positive message out, it's fine. And he's in general a fun character, and he's an insightful character, intelligent character.
I love at the beginning of the movie where you don't have any context except for the fact that, like, they're walking into this panel late, and he's, giving his speech about diversity, and then they're asking these highly inappropriate questions and making these horrible comments, and then he just pulls out a gun and shoots them.
Yeah.
Like, what are we watching? And then it was all an act. And then, every scene that Hooper X was in was
a fantastic
he definitely, I think, steals that movie. He's great.
But yeah, Hooper X, fun character.
Yeah, definitely one of the best side characters in the movie.
Beyond that, most of the characters, and then I can't remember her name now, the main female character. Alyssa, yeah.
Yeah, I thought Alyssa was definitely the least insufferable character in the movie.
Of the main three,
yes.
Yeah, she's definitely the only one with a relatively decent head on her shoulders out of all of them. I think, and that goes into part of my problem with this movie is all of the characters are adults that are written like they're in junior high.
Yeah, ironically, considering the subject matter.
Well, it's like they're adults with junior high mentalities. Like, when Holden, after he finds out about this stuff with the finger cuffs situation.
Yes.
And he tries to confront her about it. Instead of confronting her, he gives her the... he gives her, like, the third degree, like, it's freaking...
At the hockey game?
Yeah, at a hockey game. In a public location.
Yeah, so inappropriate. Like, hey.
So that's crap like a 13-year-old does.
Yes, that's, yeah.
It's
hey, have you ever heard, I saw your yearbook. Like, how would you get a hold of my yearbook?
And I'm not saying she was wrong in blowing up on him for it. She was not. But at the same time, freaking, like, screaming it there, instead of just being like, hey, let's leave to talk about this because, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, that was...
But she was definitely in the right for blowing up because he was being a jerk.
Yeah, like, hey, have you ever heard of this person? Yeah, just like the worst at subtlety.
Yeah, no, and it's the worst. And then, is it Banky?
Jason Lee?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Banky.
Banky. He's the one who even brings the freaking
he finds her yearbook. It's like, okay. Like, what is wrong with you?
And even further, like, New Jersey... Who the heck lets their nickname in the freaking yearbook for that year be finger cuffs?
Well, if you look at the one next to her, his nickname is Whip It, which is a drug reference. So, I mean...
Inappropriate,
yeah. Just so, Whip It like the cans of whipped cream. Is that what's spelled?
I'm sure.
Yeah, Whip It's the thing.
But when a problem comes along...
you must whip it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I meant it that way.
You think?
No, I don't think so. No.
But it's really frustrating, and I know it was probably written from a very personal space for Kevin Smith. He wrote it in relation to things he probably experienced growing up, whether it directly affected him or someone he knew or something he was privy to. The movies that involve characters like Holden and Banky feel like they're the more personal movies. That and then Mallrats probably kind of was, but it was probably also like halfway a joke, stuff that they always joked about happening.
Yeah.
And then also Clerks, of course, because I think he even said that was very much a personal situation for him.
Yeah, and then like with Clerks too, like written from a perspective of him being older, and allegedly there's a third one coming out.
There's always allegedly a third one coming out.
Yes.
There was always allegedly a second one coming out until it actually happened.
It's true.
But
anyway, we digress.
Yeah. But it's mediocre, which when you look at a body of work being really good, mediocre is kind of bad. But when mediocre is your worst,
Yeah, I mean, there's
That's
definitely
really good.
other films of his that have more critical
Acclaim.
and then there's definitely other ones that have more critical.
Well, flopping.
Yeah.
Flopping is a good way to put it.
Yeah, low ratings.
But yeah.
Yeah, what I liked about this movie, I like the bookends of at the comic book convention.
That's good.
And we get to see that, to see Banky's frustration with being the inker and like the guys are giving him such a hard time.
Yep.
Which I've never worked in the comic industry. But I would imagine every role is important.
Well, and I think part of that also was a writing thing to make it more dramatic than it needed to be, because Banky also talked about how he colored the comic.
Yeah.
Like he mentions, like, I ink it for depth and I also do the coloring for the comic.
Yeah.
So you do the color. The color's important. It's very important for a comic.
Unless
you're doing black and white and whatever. But I mean, nowadays you have to also take into consideration this was back when they had to do everything by hand.
Mm-hmm.
Nowadays, a lot of that other stuff, the inking and the coloration and stuff like that's all digitally.
Yeah. But and then like who goes to a comic book convention to harass people? Like that has always bothered me.
It happens.
I know it, but it's so annoying.
It makes people that feel tiny feel really big to harass people that are doing something more than them. I just get depressed
when like,
people my age are successful. I'm just like, oh, look at them. That's good for them.
Yay, you're young, or when they're younger than you. It's worse, anyway. But yeah, and then when you see him, and they have the same fan at the end of the movie talking to him, like, hey, like, whatever happened, and oh man, like, you're like, baby Dave is really cool, like, you didn't even need that guy, but then there's like that awkward, like, secondary conversation going on between Banky and Holden, where like Holden's over there, and they're like doing these hand gestures, and it's like, what?
It's the unspoken, like, hey, how's it going? But yeah,
that was something I enjoyed. And then narratively, the movie was fine. It did drag on a little. I really did enjoy the part where they're in the club, and they don't realize what kind of club it is.
When she's singing, and Holden's like, oh, it's really touching me. Yay, I'm happy.
She's singing to me.
And she's actually singing to the girl right in front of Holden.
Yes. And then
when Banky has the realization.
When he puts two and two together. Yeah, when he just sees all the couples.
And he's just like,
oh.
And the smile and the nod he gets, and that's why Jason Lee is actually such a great actor. Isn't like a smile and nod of like, all right, this is going to be great. It's more like, that makes so much sense now.
Yes. Yeah, Jason Lee, even though Banky is wholly unlikable, he does a great job portraying him.
Mm-hmm. It's really funny. Jason Lee has portrayed some of my most likable and unlikable characters in all of my experience with entertainment. Mm-hmm. He has been Earl from My Name is Earl.
Yeah.
He's an incredibly likable character.
Even though he's kind of a horrible person, but he's trying.
He's trying so hard to be better.
Yeah.
And that's why he's so likable.
Yeah.
And then Banky, I want to punt in the teeth.
Uh-huh.
Oh my God, he's insufferable.
Yes.
Banky is a really good representation of everything wrong with the comic book industry today.
Yeah?
Oh my God, he's such a good representation. Kevin Smith, you're a genius.
We knew that. But yeah, narratively, the only part for me that I really started questioning things, like, is this more like what would really happen, or what like a guy wishes would happen when Holden brings them together after she's had her big meltdown because like he can't handle her past.
Mm-hmm.
And like they're like she's crying in the rain and because he can't let it go.
Yeah.
And he's bringing them together about what they should do to fix their relationship.
Oh my God.
And then Banky is like, okay. I'm like, what? No. And then she's like, you don't want this.
Yeah.
Which is true. I mean, that would not fix anything. She's totally right.
Yep.
But that just seemed really unrealistic that he would be like, yes, I'm willing to go through with this. Unless he really was. Which, whatever.
Well, I mean, he's a guy, and there's that subset of guys that are just they're like, "Dear Penthouse, I never thought it would happen to me."
Oh God.
That's what a lot of them do.
I don't know, but yeah, that little ending scene with the couch and him talking to them, and it seems like he has like the table set for like a romantic evening. It's just like this is not realistic.
I don't know. I honestly have no idea. This movie is. I've never been in situations like that. And that's probably part of the reason that this movie doesn't necessarily speak to me, because the two of us had a relatively calm and tame high school to adulthood life.
So yeah, definitely not a film that we could relate to.
Not on as a deep as level as I'm sure some other people could. But it's not bad.
No, yeah, I think it's just definitely kind of like just an in the middle film. It's not awful.
No.
But a slower paced film. You can definitely see the budgetary constraints. The film looks very cheap,
which is fine.
Yeah, that doesn't hurt it in any way, but it just stands out compared to like his other works.
Okay, there is one scene that the budget constraints and the cheapness rings in noticeably. Which is one scene, and it is the hockey arena scene. Because where they're sitting feels like it's like this tiny area. They dragged some benches. They dragged some benches into to sit on. Everybody there looks like they're there for a free soda and sandwich. And then even the hockey players don't look like hockey players. I don't know. That was the only scene in the whole movie that felt very much like this is where their budget hurt.
Yeah.
That's the only scene to me. But everything else looks fine. But part of that is because it's supposed to feel like this gritty, realistic, urban story. And I think the low budget lends itself to that fairly well.
Yeah, there was a few parts where it was like if a different director had this, like if it was Edgar Wright or somebody else, like you would see like a lot of different like editing techniques and and you could definitely just tell it was definitely early Kevin Smith, where like he probably
still getting the feel for the camera.
Yeah, still learning everything, and it's not, again, I don't think the movie is bad.
No.
I just think it's
not great.
It just falls in the middle for me. Like the story and the characters, I do like that there are connections to the previous two films. They mention things from Clerks and from Mallrats characters and situations. Yeah. So I like that there's a through line through all of those movies. I thought that was cool, the little Easter eggs. It's kind of a reward for having seen the other movies when Alyssa mentions her friend that got a little frisky at the Quick Stop and then went to the asylum.
Yeah, because she was getting frisky with the dead body.
Yes.
The dead body that was in the bathroom in the movie of Clerks.
Yes.
Yeah, no.
And then they mentioned Shannon Hamilton, and he was the notorious Lothario from Mallrats that got arrested at the end of the movie.
Yep.
Because he was with an underage girl.
Yep.
So.
Well, then also the Bluntman and Chronic comic cover has the security guards from Mallrats on it.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So now we come to the part that I've been looking forward to.
Yes, instead of ranking this out of 10, we thought it would be more fun to rank this among the other View Universe films.
Yep.
All right, so we both actually ranked this pretty low.
I went with number 6.
Out of 6 View Universe films. We're only counting the films. And I ranked it 5 out of 6.
There was some variation in between for our lists, but we both kind of agreed that it's not necessarily the strongest of them.
Yeah, again, it's kind of in the middle, a little bit forgettable. If you would like to know our reasoning behind both of our lists, look out for that video maybe a little later this week.
Yep.
So yeah, now we have to critique my fighting ability.
I do it all the time.
That's cool, so yeah, this is not going to be awkward at all.
Hella awkward.
Not awkward. We'll see you in a few minutes. Because, we got to review that footage.
Oh my god, just stop the video.
Alright, so that was a thing.
It was fun. It was less painful to watch than I'm sure any fights I'm in are going to be.
I'm not looking forward to the other 2 episodes in this month.
Yeah, it'll be fine.
It was so awkward because it was the very first fight, and there's like all these awkward silences of like, okay, who's gonna talk next? And with the last round, and you talk about Spicy Joe, Spicy Tom, he kept trying to get in the last word, I think because...
Even when Jack's doing his explaining, gosh, Tom.
Which was fine, but
yeah.
Like I had a definite advantage going into the last round because I already had enough points to get to the lightning round. Yep. So, rightfully so, you're going to be spicy when, your back's against the wall, so...
The original question was... Simply the best. Better than all the rest. Best character in a Kevin Smith movie?
Yeah, so when we first got the questions, okay, do you mean like a character played by him? Do you just mean a character in one of his movies? So we had to go back and, clarify that. All right, so the choices for the round were, of course, I chose Kevin Smith's iconic
Silent
Bob from Chasing Amy. Tom chose Cardinal Glick from Dogma, and Raoul chose Dr. Howard Howe from Tusk. I might be saying that wrong.
That's okay.
Again, I've never seen that movie, so...
Yeah, I thinking about it, I think we may have gone about, or you may have gone about everyone.
Mm-hmm.
May have gone, because you focused on the one aspect from Chasing Amy,
mm-hmm.
and you, I mean, it's the best Kevin Smith. It's the best character from a Kevin Smith film.
Mm-hmm.
And while you may have based it off of the one from Chasing Amy,
mm-hmm.
you could have technically argued for the body of work of the character.
Yeah, but when behind the scenes, Jack told me I had to choose a actual film.
Well,
so
then Jack should have clarified the question a little better off the bat.
But yeah, so I was limited to that one movie because believe me, that's why I picked Silent Bob
because
I knew I could pick from I could pick from the body of work and go, okay, every role he's in, like he shines in those moments. And so when I was limited to one role, I was really in a panic, and again, having to research and figure out, okay, like what is the best. And when I landed on Chasing Amy, I'm like, this seems perfect. I'm just going to go with it. I'll watch the movie later to make sure that everything fits in context, just in case what I was finding online wasn't the full picture.
Yeah.
So
that's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair. How did you feel when you learned about who you were up against, the actual characters?
Oh, because again, it was in that moment, and it's so hard to remember things from, because everything is just happening like so fast when you're fighting, as you know, because you fought just as many times as I have. It's like you're just like so focused, and then when it's all over, like we just want to forget like what happened, especially when you don't win.
I will say, if I was in your shoes,
mm-hmm.
I think I would have had a harder time arguing against Tom's choice.
Mm-hmm.
Cardinal Glick, a.k.a. played by the talented George Carlin,
yes.
is a much harder fight against the Dime Storm Frankenstein that was Tusk. Against, no offense to Raoul's choice, because we haven't seen that movie. There's no interest. But in general, that character doesn't stick out like... We don't see quotes of that character floating around the internet.
Yeah, and then in part of Raoul's argument, he accidentally helped me by saying, like, my character was hard to argue for. So thanks, Raoul.
It's always a hard thing to successfully point out, like, how can I argue against that or X when I'm arguing for Y.
And I thought Tom had a lot of really good things to say about Cardinal Glick, and a lot of great counter arguments to the things that I said about Silent Bob in that role. About, well, that is the director. He wrote the movie. Of course he's going to like give himself like a big speech, and a lot of the things I said were just very repetitive of my initial argument.
Well, something...
It's hard when you're like on the spot like that.
Well, and then Tom arguing that the director's going to give himself the best speech. Yes, and he's going to know how to pull it off, making that character a much more authentic feel, because this is words written by the writer and director of this movie that come from his heart, which is a meaningful thing that this is probably the most meaningful thing said in this whole movie, and he knows how he wants it delivered.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's something that Tom used that if interpreted the right way could be helping you as well. But still.
It was hard for me to think of, like, okay, especially at the end, it's like, okay, I gotta say something to knock Cardinal Glick. Okay, like, I'll just talk about there's other more memorable characters from that movie, and there are a ton of memorable characters from Dogma.
Alan Rickman as the Metatron is a more memorable character, with the subtle, like, drinking and then spitting it out because he can't imbibe.
Yeah. Well, no, I think Cardinal Glick is very memorable as well, but it's a sea of great characters. Mm-hmm. Where in Chasing Amy, Silent Bob, I think, could be argued one of the better characters in that movie.
And was it Hooper X?
Yeah, Hooper X, yeah.
Yeah, which Langley, is part of that fight when Brian was bringing up other suggestions. Langley brought up Hooper X, and such a great character. Yes,
but some moments I was proud of in my argument that I talked about the facial expressions of Silent Bob and how, like, that helps with characterization. And also I tried to quote something from Shakespeare, so,
You're proud.
I was proud of that, but then, like, how I delivered the rest of the argument, I'm like, oh my god, why am I talking like this? Why did I just say that? This is, like, how did I ever win any points in any of these games?
Because you underestimate yourself, and you're actually way better than you give yourself credit for.
But yeah, Tom was, he was really gunning for me and Raul, especially me, and, it's how you play the game, and and then when Tom won the tiebreaker, I'm like, oh god, I have to keep arguing with you, I don't want to be in this game anymore. So, anything else that stood out to you from the round? I feel awkward, like, talking about, I'm so great, because I don't really think I'm great at all, so, like, what do you have to say about what I said, dear husband of mine?
You did well. I don't know what to say. I'm not a good critiquer of aggressive verbal combat. I'm a pacifist here, okay?
Okay.
It's probably why I'm not good at these things.
Yeah, I'm very passive, too.
But it's fun.
Yeah, it is so much fun fighting, but, yeah, like, there's just... Yeah, it's hard, and then again, trying to come up with everything off the cuff, especially in that episode where it's like, oh, Cardinal Glick, I didn't, and then Tusk, I've never seen that before, but yeah, I definitely tried to go with this, it had the most impact, and then the facial expressions, and then you really get to see the character growth. I think that's what really kind of helped me at the end.
Yep.
That it makes you question more about the character. And something that I noticed the second time that I didn't notice the first time when we watched that scene was that the music cue changes, like in the background, like everything's like kind of like not cheery, but once
somber.
Yeah, like once Silent Bob starts talking, then like it's silent for a moment. There's no ambient music. It's just ambient noise, and then like as he's talking, like the music cue changes to kind of match what he's saying. So I was kind of sad that I didn't notice that the first time around, because that's something that I could have like maybe used to help my argument. I don't know.
Sweetheart, you won. Let it rest.
I don't know. You can always do better.
Hindsight is 20/20.
Yeah, and I think we've all learned a lot from, participating in fan fiction about how to craft better arguments and counter arguments. You just can't really say the same thing over and over again.
No.
And I know, like, when I've caught other glimpses of like rewatching some of the shows for like this show, for like our show and other purposes, like, like the more that you perform on the show, like the better that you get, kind of, except for, well, I only won one.
You're more practiced.
Yeah, and sometimes, fighting different people, you never know what style they're going to have, so, and we, especially in this case, we didn't know each other at all.
This is the very first time.
Yeah, like Raul.
Like, we knew Raul.
Yeah, we knew him, we'd met him, like, we had all interacted with each other on Twitter.
But that's not the same as talking to people.
Yeah, this is all before we had OSP and DVD Bunker. So yeah, this was all new. Nobody knew each other. So yeah, all the awkward pauses. I think that kind of like has definitely gone away now that we've all gotten a little more comfortable and we know each other. And
oh yeah,
even when new people come on, we kind of know how it works. So Definitely a fun experience. It was really cool being involved in the very first episode, but man, I was so nervous.
Yeah.
And I actually have my show notes from that first episode if you would like to see some from that round. So yeah, I really messed with the margins to get this down, but it was like 11 pages worth of stuff. But yeah, printed it all out. So yeah, Silent Bob and Chasing Amy. And my first point, because I wrote it out like a college research paper outline. That's how nerdy I am. I don't do it that way anymore. Really, Bob? And I said, Silent Bob is a hard sell because his performance and lines are so limited. He sells it with facial gestures and his silent performance. His let us know, it literally says his let us know. Did not, Microsoft Word fail. His let us know how he feels. When he agrees, when he's embarrassed by Jay. I don't know what the heck that's supposed to mean. When he's surprised as Holden and Jay talk. When he talks, Holden perks up. His speech mirrors what Holden goes through. So it's like it's written in fragments. What kind of grammar was this? But what he lacks in minutes of speech, he makes up for in quality. Wow, this is like brilliant college level work here. His speech in Chasing Amy, lamenting over chasing the girl that he let go, is his most poignant speech to date. You really get the feeling for the first time that there is more to his character than just a guy who smokes a lot of cigarettes, among other things. He transforms before us not just as a joke character, but someone with emotion and depth. Makes you want to know more about this character. Maybe he's quiet because Jay is always talking too much, and he only feels like it's worth saying something if it's really important. Even though it's just one scene, it leaves an impact on the audience as well as Holden, inspires him to be the bigger person to try to save his relationship. So, like, I literally wrote this like it was a short answer for my class. Like, seriously.
I mean, it's impressive.
Yeah, like, I take tons of notes.
I know.
Yes.
I'm aware.
It hasn't helped me very much. I've lost almost every episode I've been in.
Hey, we all prep in different ways, and that's all that matters.
Anyway, let's go to Twitter. We wanted to know basically what people's favorite character from any Kevin Smith movie was. Yeah,
we kind of brought it. It's basically the same question, but,
And then, we put up a cool picture of all the different movies from this episode.
Travis Wachowski at Travis Marvel thinks Ben Affleck's character from Holden McNeil from Jay and Silent Bob Strikes Back. Definitely a more likable Holden.
Yeah, because you don't see him as much.
Yeah.
Brian Hurst at Herskely suggested Randall from Clerks, no question, which I think he mentioned on the show as well.
Yep. Morgan Robinson at The Purple Dawn said Dante from Clerks, although obviously Jay and Silent Bob are incredible. Yeah, I mean, they keep coming back.
Raul also suggested Dante from Clerks.
Dante is a good choice. Billy Hallahan. Halloween.
Yeah, you can tell these tweets are old.
Also went with Randall from Clerks.
Kimber suggested Brody from Mallrats. I couldn't remember the character name earlier, but yeah, I really enjoy Brody.
A more likable Jason Lee than Banky. All right, Eric Monroe at MMKOCH200 said Brody from Mallrats. But I won't be shaking his hand anytime soon. Ha.
Yeah, and I quoted back to him that it was a very smart decision. Randall Sands suggests Silent Bob will forever be my fave character. He is calm in dire situations and give moments of insight and clarity when needed.
I can agree to that. Randall and I seem to think a lot alike about lots of stuff, and if I had to choose a single character from all of the movies, it would probably be Silent Bob, because he is the calm voice of reason in all of those movies. Practically every single one, he is the voice of reason. Jack at JRS Pitboy 2008,
our producer,
said Metatron, which is a pretty good choice. I mean, it's Alan Rickman playing the voice of God, and he does so fantastically.
Yeah. Jason Michael at Film Faculty, his favorite character is Randall. He's a walking contradiction. He knows and is comfortable with it.
Hamza Juicer at Hamza Juicer says he'll go with Jay. He's the most entertaining and has classic quotes.
Jeannine at Jeannine the Bean has a picture of the Metatron as her favorite.
And of course, Tom at Odd Shape Panel says Cardinal Glick. mistakes were made.
I love that line so much. I really, really want to rewatch Dogma after watching the fight. Yeah.
We've done really well. What about this, this, and this? Okay, mistakes were made.
Yeah, and then George Carlin's performance is amazing.
His line delivery alone makes that character.
Yeah, and I would like to give honorable mention to Azrael, which I think was played by Jason Lee. I think that's the character's name.
The demon?
The demon.
I'm a freaking demon?
Yeah, that guy. Alright, and that's it for Twitter. What we normally do on a regular episode of BFF is rank the movie choice, which would be my choice, out of 10. So I feel awkward ranking my own answer of Silent Bob as the best Kevin Smith character. But if you feel comfortable ranking my choice, and again, I won't get offended by your ranking. I will still be married to you after this episode airs.
I hope.
So yeah, I mean, obviously I picked it, so like...
Yeah, you thought it was a good choice. I'm going to say it's an 8.
Okay.
If only because you are 100%, I am 100% in agreement with your character choice. I just don't think it was the right movie.
Okay.
I mean, I see why you chose it for
right.
what you did. I disagree respectfully.
That's fine.
But you still, to me, of these three, the best character was chosen. I just think Chasing Amy is,
Okay.
I think he's had more shining moments in all sorts of other movies, including movies he is one of the 2 starring characters.
Okay, so like, what would be the 10 out of 10 choice to you?
Probably Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back.
All right. I love his Critters from Hollywood speech.
It's not even the speech.
Yeah.
It's the fact that you had brought up in your notes even the facial gestures that he makes, the body language.
Yeah.
And it's one thing when we have like a 5 to 10 minute scene of him with one speech, but the rest of the time it's facial and body language. But when we get the whole gamut of it in Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, you really get to see a lot of it.
Okay.
And it's like it's like the sampling size concept.
Okay, I think that's very fair. If I had to choose a different character to argue for that's not Silent Bob, I would probably go with Azrael from Dogma, even though he's like not in the movie like a whole lot
Smarmy line delivery matters for a lot though.
Every scene he's in is brilliant. So I might go with that as the best character.
It's probably because we love a fun villain. It's the reason a lot of people really enjoy Negan right now in The Walking Dead. And I really love Handsome Jack from Borderlands. If you can laugh at what the villain's doing, then it's fantastic.
Or like why everybody loves Loki.
Yeah, it's because when the actor playing the role is having fun being a bad guy, it's a fun bad guy. Even if they're doing terrible stuff like ending the world, you're still having fun. So
yeah, that's about it from us.
We've had a lot of fun.
So definitely be following us on Twitter. You can follow me at @_Mrs. Davis.
And I'm at Drake Masters.
So yeah, that's about it from us. We'll see you next time.
Yeah. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Apparently, I am wearing the exact same shirt.
Pretty much the same outfit.
Yeah, pretty much, except the sweater's different.
You can't tell, though.
I have more makeup on because man, that was the most painful thing for me looking back at that episode. It's like, I know I wore makeup that day. It doesn't look like I'm wearing any makeup.
Oh my god.
I know, and then my hair looked weird too, but whatever.
Oh my god.
Yes. Hey.
Freaking out.
I didn't know how many people were going to be watching.
But, all in all, yeah, it was kind of a funny thing. That was like the first thing we noticed starting the episode of. It was completely unintentional.
Yeah, definitely. I was just like, I'm going to wear this shirt. Now, when I put on this shirt this morning, I was like, I think I wore this on a fan friction.
Probably. You wear that shirt a lot.
Yeah, it's a good shirt. X-Men are awesome. Duh. Hello.